Planning Commission to order for Thursday, August 19th, 2021. We start roll call, please.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Crompton?
Here.
Mr. Dillon?
Here.
Mr. Kella?
Here.
Mr. Perez? Ms. Rohr?
Here.
Mr. Wunderlich?
Yes.
Mr. Rusinellis?
Here. I'm sure everybody read the minutes. We'll get a motion for the minutes in a second.
Motion to approve?
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Rusinellis?
Aye.
Mr. Wunderlich?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye. Okay, Jim, what do you got for us?
Starting out here, we have our citizens to be heard on agenda items. This section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding items listed on the agenda. Please be aware that you can also speak on these items when the petitions are called, but if there's anybody that wants to speak on these agenda items, now would be the time. Not seeing any, we can move on to old business for public hearing. First petition is the preliminary plat of Cherry Hill Business Park West Unit 6 subdivision and FP 421 final plat of Cherry Hill Business Park West Unit 6 subdivision Phase 1. Under general information, the applicant is Northern Builders. Status of applicant is the owner and developer. Requested action is a preliminary plat, approval of a 5-lot subdivision. For the final plat, approval of a 1-lot subdivision. The purpose is to allow construction of an industrial warehouse building. Existing zoning is I-1 light industrial. Location of this is east of Cherry Hill Road and south of Ellis Road. Size of this is 102 acres. Existing land use is undeveloped industrial. Surrounding land use and zoning to the north is industrial I-1. To the south is undeveloped unincorporated Will County. To the east is undeveloped industrial village of New Lenox. To the west is industrial I-1 light industrial zoning. Under site history, the subject property was annexed, zoned to I-1, along with an annexation agreement in April 2005. The preliminary/final and recording plats for Unit 1 were approved in February 2006. Recording plats for Units 2 through 5 were previously approved from 2006 to 2018. Under special information, the preliminary plat is proposing to divide a single parcel into 5 lots to allow for the continued development of the Cherry Hill Business Park West Industrial Park. Lot 1 includes 12 acres and is also the sole lot included on the final plat. A 260,000 square foot industrial warehouse is proposed to be located on it in the near future. Lots 2 through 4 are buildable lots that range in size from 11.3 acres to 24.2 acres. There are no known users identified for these lots at this time. Approval of future final plats will be required to allow for the development of lots 2 through 4. Lot A currently contains the existing stormwater and detention area for the subdivision. As part of this proposal, an off-site easement will be recorded to ensure its continued future use and maintenance for the park. All public improvements, sewer and water connection fees, the developer's impact fee, and landscaping will be required per the approved annexation agreement and city ordinance, and that concludes our staff report.
Okay, thank you, Jim. We have the petitioner on hand here today.
I talked to him this morning and he said he was coming, so
This is the one we tabled
maybe he's held up.
last month, right?
It is, and we feel like all those issues are cleared up.
And just for the record, what exactly is there gonna be the agreement then?
So this was concerning a road improvement that's adjacent to the park.
Yeah.
And the agreement we got in writing from the petitioner is for the next unit that they do, they would be required to do those improvements for that roadway.
That doesn't cost the citizens any money.
Will not, and that satisfied the concerns of our Public Works Department.
We got that in writing.
We got that from a letter from the developer, that's correct.
Okay, very good. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Those improvements, do they affect the use of the property now? 'Cause you
No,
said for the next unit, is it imperative that they be in place now?
no, was not imperative that they be done now. It's been an issue that's been kicked down the road probably for 15 years, so we're just kicking it down the road a little bit longer, but it's not imperative that those improvements be done in order for this to be a successful development.
Okay, and the improvements was curbage, right?
Was a half-road improvement, and that also would have included curbs and other public improvements. Yeah, if Mike
Yeah.
could probably speak to that more in detail if you would
Sure.
like.
Sure, to add to that, it's the next improvement or within 36 months, whichever comes first. So we will have the improvement within 36 months. That improvement is a roadway widening of Cherry Hill between Ellis and Mills Road, approximately 3,000 feet west of the project area. It is, in conversations with the developer, Public Works has received the necessary assurances between the narrative they provided us, the letter on their letterhead that they will complete the improvements, as well as their prospective plan for the site that leaves us to believe that we shouldn't experience any sort of issues, and we are satisfied from Public Works perspective.
Okay. Any other questions? Any concerns, comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have a motion for P-5-21, FP-4-21?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Kellogg,
Aye.
Ms. Rohr,
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis,
Aye.
Mr. Wunderlich,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Mr. Crompton,
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
So this will go on to the city council with a recommendation for approval, and that meeting is scheduled for the second meeting in September. Moving on to the next agenda item, A721, First Amendment to the annexation agreement concerning property at 3501 Shanahan Road to allow truck parking, and Z321, reclassification of 4.27 acres located at 3501 Shanahan Road from B3 General Business to I1 Light Industrial Zoning. Under general information, the applicant is Flex Capital LLC. The status of the applicant is contract purchaser developer. The owners of the property are Three Rivers Properties LLC, John McCarrick and James A. Daniels. Requested action is approval of an amendment to an annexation agreement and zoning reclassification. The purpose is to allow accessory truck parking as part of a future development. The existing zoning is B3 general business. Proposed zoning is I1 light industrial. Location of this is 3501 Shanahan Road, which is west of Humboldt Road and the north side of Route 6. The size is 4.27 acres. Existing land use is vacant restaurant, bar, and separate single-family residence. Surrounding land use and zoning to the north is Forest Preserve, unincorporated Will County. To the south is industrial I2, general industrial. To the east is residential, unincorporated Will County. And to the west is Forest Preserve, unincorporated Will County. Under site history, the annexation classification of the B3 general business zoning district and an annexation agreement was approved by the city council in December 2011 for the subject site in question. Under special information, approval of the proposed annexation agreement amendment and zoning reclassification will allow the existing vacant mixed-use site to redevelop as a warehouse use or similar I-1 permitted use that can utilize accessory truck and trailer parking. Condition in the original agreement prohibited truck parking on the site for the restaurant bar use. If approved, the amendment will only allow trucks to be parked on site as part of a fully redeveloped project, and you can see the proposed site plan. The existing site in its current condition will still not be permitted to have truck parking. The attached concept plan for the current proposal includes a 22,875 square foot warehouse and office building. An employee parking area and additional space within the parking area for truck or trailer parking is also being shown. The easternmost access to the site will be removed and additional berming, landscaping, and screening will be installed to buffer the adjacent residential as a condition of the amended annexation agreement. A retention pond is being proposed in the northwest corner of the property. It should be noted that the subject site cannot be used for a truck terminal or a truck parking lot only. Cargo containers and trailer chassis will still be prohibited on site. Subject site is a former site of the Liquid Therapy Bar and Restaurant, which could remain until redeveloped. The site currently contains a large commercial building and a single-family house with a detached garage and shed. A large partially paved shared parking lot surrounds these uses. Property currently utilizes a well and septic system. A future development would require it to connect to city water and sewer. In addition, public improvements, landscaping, screening, paving, curbing, site lighting, and adherence to the city's non-residential design standards will be required as per city ordinances. Sewer and water connection fees and developer impact fees will also be required for the future development. And that concludes our staff report.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have the petitioner on hand for this? State your name, sir.
Nathaniel Washburn with Kavanaugh, Grumley, Gorbold. I'm the attorney for the petitioner.
Okay, thank you. This was the old Sarah restaurant at one time, right?
Yes, before liquid therapy.
So you're gonna tear that down and do this other project?
That's the plan. Until that project is fully approved and permitted with the city, the intention is to permit the bar and restaurant that's currently there and operating to continue to operate. We're in talks with a somewhat short-term lease with the existing property owners to continue to operate the bar until we're ready to develop.
Okay, are there any other questions from the commissioners?
I have one. Are you gonna keep when they redevelop, are they gonna leave the advertising sign, the billboard?
So I believe that would be all subject to conforming with city ordinance. So I believe the intention would be to the extent that we can leave it there per city ordinance. I think they would probably prefer to do so as it's an additional source of revenue. However, it's not shown, I believe, on our current concept plan. And given the truck turnarounds and the radius and where it's currently located, I don't know that that would be feasible. So I would defer to permitting and staff approvals at that time.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Are there any concerns or questions from the citizens? Seeing none, do I have a motion for A-7-21, Z-3-21?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crumpton?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
So this too will proceed with a favorable recommendation to the city council at the second meeting in September. Ken, they did call your case and they, were nice enough to approve it without you present, so, yeah, just to let you know, so you don't have to stick around.
Yeah, you don't, you go.
I left at 2 o'clock. It took me
It's okay.
2 hours.
Don't worry, you get approved.
Apologize. The one-day traffic was,
No, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on through the agenda, the next item is FP 521, final plat of re-subdivision of Rock Run Crossing subdivision. Under general information, the applicant is Cullinan Joliet LLC. The status of the applicant is owner-developer. Requested action is approval of a final plat of subdivision. Purposes to allow development of a mixed-use center. Existing zoning is B2 Central Business District and I1 Light Industrial District. Location is in the northeast corner of Interstate 55 and Interstate 80. Size is 263.157 acres. Existing land use is undeveloped. Surrounding land use and zoning, perimeter zoning is to the north, essential service, unincorporated Will County. To the south is undeveloped, unincorporated Will County. To the east is residential, institutional, industrial, unincorporated Will County, R1, I1, and I2. To the west is Interstate 55 and industrial in the village of Shorewood. Under site history, a minor subdivision for Rock Run Crossings was approved by the City Council in September 2018. Dedication of the Rock Run right-of-way was approved by the City Council in June 2020. A development agreement, preliminary plat of subdivision, and zoning reclassification for 58 acres to I-1 was approved by the City Council in January 2021. Under special information, final plat of re-subdivision is proposing 5 lots that range in size from 12.5 acres to 83 acres. It is intended that these large lot sizes would be re-subdivided and/or planned further by future plan unit developments, PUDs, as tenant buildings are known. The re-subdivision or PUD process would require review by the Plan Commission and City Council. The industrial zone Lot 4 could develop with approval of city building permits without further public hearings. Rock Run Crossings Drive, which was previously dedicated to the city, will be the main point of access from the Interstate 55 interchange. A road to be named later off the existing frontage road will also be accessible to the north. Connection to Olympic Drive to the east and through Rock Run Business Park will also be made. Negotiations have taken place with the developer to eliminate semi-truck traffic cutting through Rock Run Crossings to get to Rock Run Business Park and vice versa. Based on a condition in the approved development agreement, the city has sole discretion on the developer putting in semi-truck barriers and the timing of this requirement. A potential use configuration for this mixed-use development calculated the following uses and square footage within their data. For commercial, there's approximately 360,000 square feet proposed. For restaurant usage, there's approximately 82,000 square feet proposed. For fitness, approximately 50,000 square feet proposed. Gas station, approximately 4,000 square feet. Office, approximately 180 square feet, 180,000 square feet. Hotel, approximately 134,000 square feet. Bank, approximately 4,600 square feet. And pharmacy usage, approximately 13,500 square feet. Total of this is approximately 828,100 square feet. Calculations above do not include the industrial area or a flex development area on Lot 2. Future flex development area will be provided 18 months after the opening of the I-55 interchange to market the site for commercial or multifamily residential uses. The marketing of this area for these uses fails in that time, the developer would be allowed to seek industrial uses. Truck terminals would be prohibited in the development by language set forth in the approved development agreement. All public improvements will be required as per the city's subdivision regulations, the requirements of the city's public works and the city public works department. Storm detention is proposed on Lot 5 and partial Lot 2 along the east side of the site to act as a buffer from nearby residential and the Rock Run Creek. Sewer and water connection fees and the developer's impact fee will be required. Landscaping will be installed in compliance to the city's landscape ordinance. It will include 30-foot wide buffers and berms along the adjacent right-of-way on industrial Lot 4. Future buildings will comply with the city's non-residential design standards, and that concludes our staff report.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have the petitioner on hand for this? You state your name, please, sir, for the record.
Jim Teston, Cullinan Development Manager.
Do you have anything you wish to add to this?
I think the staff report covered it well. We were before you in December of last year with the preliminary plat, got a recommendation of approval. So really just coming back with the final plat consistent with that preliminary plat.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from any of the commissioners?
One comment, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
When I was with Joliet Junior College, I had several meetings with Cullinan, and if I remember, Vic Pildes.
What's that?
Vic Pildes was his name, from Cullinan.
Nick was probably one and Chris West was probably another.
They were, because, you know, we were contiguous to JJC out there, and they were nothing, Cullinan was nothing but the best people they talked to, sit down, work with. We talked a lot about different things, and it's, in my opinion, it's gonna be good for the city of Joliet, good for taxes for the city and JJC, obviously. Put people to work, permanent jobs. That's all I have to say, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Anybody else have any questions? No comments, concerns from the citizens? Can I get a motion for?
Wait,
John,
Oh,
John.
you got somebody? Go ahead, sir. Stand up in the mic and, give your name and address if you would, please.
Sure, my name is Fred Butala, 20751 Rock Run Drive. Resident obviously on Rock Run Drive, they're adjacent to the property. Have some questions, because I'm not real familiar with this process and stuff. My first question, I notice on page 2, first paragraph of that document you just read, it talks about the street connections. I want to clarify that there will be no connection of this development to Rock Run Drive. When I look at the developer's drawings online, it shows a connection on to Rock Run Drive, but paragraph 2 makes
talks about all the streets but makes no mention of that. So I want to clarify that there is going to be no connection to Rock Run Drive.
That's correct, yeah, I'm not sure which, plans you're looking at, but no plans that we have, show connection to Rock Run Drive. We're not, in favor of that.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, honestly, I don't think, there's 20 homes on my street. I don't think any one of us is in support of this project, but we're realistic. We know there's too much money to be made by too many people for us to really have any say-so in it. But we've all lived there. I've lived there for 19 years. We've all moved out there because it's quiet, it's peaceful, it's dark at night. You know, that's the atmosphere we want. So, you know, we're very concerned about how this is gonna affect everything out by us. And we really ask that you respect our lifestyle out there and do everything possible to try to maintain that for us. So certainly with 20 houses on a street, if there was any connection to this development, that would put a massive increase on traffic versus what we are used to. I mean, right now, people walk up and down the street, they ride four-wheelers, golf carts, everything else. You know, we want to try to maintain that lifestyle. So I just want to ensure that there's no connection plan, because when I go to the Rock Run Crossing website, it clearly shows what looks like apartment buildings with connection onto Rock Run Drive. And
Yeah, and those are very conceptual, so, like the staff report said, they're just carving out these larger areas, and each area would have to come back for reapproval before the plan commission and then city council. You know, most likely the area adjacent to you, we're hoping, you know, is probably multifamily residential, condominiums or, townhouses or something of that nature. And so they'd have to come back and get approval to do that, so you'd have another opportunity if anything different was being proposed at that time to review it and come before the plan commission and city council again to voice your opinions, but at this current time, they're not showing any connection to, Rock Run Drive, and we're not supportive of any connection to Rock Run Drive.
My other question is, if I understand the drawings correctly, it looks like there is a water retention area for all the lots except lot 1, which is the one that's adjacent to the homes. And I'm just kind of curious as to why that is. And maybe I misunderstand the drawings, but from what I see, it looks like that's the situation based on that drawing.
Yeah, can you?
Certainly.
Preliminary plat, I mean, the full, is that the full-size one?
Which one are we looking at?
The first page,
That one.
that one there, yeah.
Okay, so actually, 3 lots have detention. Lot 5 has a large bulk of detention. Lot 2 has detention, both identified on the plat, as well as there's a note on the subsequent final plat that a little bit more, 21 acre feet will be required. And then Lot 3 also has a similar note. So 3 lots will have detention, but the detention has been designed by the developer's engineers to accept the water consistent with the natural grades of the site. And so the location of the detention ponds should, by way of the engineer's design, accept all of their site stormwater runoff. So it's not necessarily specific to each lot, but it is capturing the totality of the stormwater runoff for the entire site.
Okay, I would really like to see that retention moved into lot 1, because that would help provide more isolation to the residential area on my street. I think that would be nice versus having this development go all the way up to our street, especially if it varies and it's just handling the total water runoff. It seems like it would be doable to move that retention to lot 1.
Just so you know, lot 1 is kind of on an island. I think you're referring to partial lot 2, which is adjacent to, your road. You know, it's kind of maybe hard to follow here, but lot 1, you know, like I said, is on an island with the interchange.
So lot
over
1
the-
is
is just that
is
Kinda-
on the left side of the road there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm
this is
talking
partial
about
lot
basically
two.
what's right adjacent to the first 8 homes there on Rock Run Drive.
Jim, if you want to jump to the next sheet, there's a, or maybe you're already on the correct sheet, there's a note if you zoom in, additional 21 acre feet to be provided there on the north side of lot 2, so that might satisfy what he's asking for, it's just not depicted. I don't know if you can zoom in anymore. It's that, point. Do you have a pointer on that? No. Oh. Sure. So there's a note here in the northeast. I can almost reach it. There's 4 lines of text there. It says that an additional 21 acre feet will be provided. So that hasn't been completely worked out, and Jim, maybe you guys have a better idea of where that may end up, but that, I do understand that might satisfy your request.
21 acre feet means what exactly? It's
20,
not 21 feet wide, is it?
it would be 21 acres of area at a foot depth, or an equivalent amount of volume.
Yeah, okay. I guess really it just, I don't quite have an understanding of how that compares in area to the retention area.
I think these are shallow wetland ponds being proposed, or the ones that are showing on this plat work? Are these more shallow, they're not your,
They're generally more shallow.
they're not like wet ponds with aerators or,
So the pond on lot 2 is generally fairly shallow. It's only a few feet deep, the one that's existing and designed. It's a little bit deeper on the south side of lot 2, or excuse me, lot 5. Those ponds tend to have a little bit more depth to them.
and maybe the developer could maybe fill in some.
For background on this, and Jim brought it up, is there were some really concepts that came through, and this would have been part of the design criteria that we came through with. That part of the residential has not been designed yet. That's why it's just a note on there for the amount of detention. The site pretty much runs west to east. It would be expected it could go there. Most of the detention is south. You can actually see a line going across. That's a drainage easement working with IDOT, so that's why it kind of ends there into the pond itself. But yeah, the residential has not been designed yet. When that gets designed, then we're gonna have to come back, identify the detention, do the civil engineering for it, and then ultimately come back through the process as well. But working with the city, they've been clear, as well as the township, who has that roadway, that they're not looking for a connection to it.
All right. All right, yeah, I think that's all my questions.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
I have a motion for FP-5-21 then.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye. Next, Jim.
Like the others, that will go to city council's second meeting in September. Last agenda item is Z421, reclassification of 3.31 acres located at 7,000 Caton Farm Road from RB restricted business to B1 neighborhood business zoning. There's a tabling request by the applicant. The applicant has requested that this zoning reclassification request be tabled to the September meeting of the Plan Commission so that the reclassification request can be reviewed at the same time as a companion request to amend the annexation agreement for this property. Staff is in favor of this request to table.
Can I get a motion to table Z-4-21?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Moving on through the agenda, number 7, old new business, not for final action or recommendation, we have none. Under 8, public comments, this section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding non-agenda items and are allowed a maximum of 4 minutes. It's not a question and answer period, and staff and the Plan Commission do not generally respond to public comments. Please note speakers who engage in conduct injurious to the harmony of the Plan Commission shall be called to order by the presiding officer and may forfeit the opportunity to speak. Is there anyone here that wants to speak on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we can move on to adjournment if you choose.
Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
See you next month.